Beep, boop, blorp. Beep, beep, blorp. Ah! Ow. What is this, mayonnaise? Who got
21 drums on a whole bass horn.
Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet.
All right, who let this guy on the radio?
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
First duty of every Starfleet officer is to the truth. Scientific truth, or historical truth, or personal truth. It is the guiding principle on which Starfleet is based. Now, if you can't find it within yourself to stand up, tell the truth, you don't deserve to wear that uniform.
This is becoming a speech.
You're the captain, sir. You're entitled.
Not entitled to ramble on about something everyone knows.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
He just kept talking in one long, incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic so that no one had the chance to interrupt. It was really quite hypnotic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Moving from topic to topic. Quite hypnotic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Moving from topic to topic. Quite hypnotic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. Moving from topic to topic. Quite hypnotic. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
You'll have to call again. I'm just leaving. I'm not dressed properly. My love is a fever, longing till for that which longer nurseth the disease. You'll have to call again. In faith, I do not love thee. With mine eyes they be 1,000 errors see. But 'tis my heart that loves what they despise. Who in despite of you are pleased to know. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You'll have to call again.
Darmok, Angelad, at Tanagra. Darmok, Angelad, at Tanagra. Darmok, Angelad, at Tanagra. Darmok, Angelad, at Tanagra. I am Locutus aboard. You will respond to my questions. I am Locutus aboard. You aboard. I am Locutus aboard. You will assist us. I am Locutus aboard. You aboard. I am Locutus aboard. Lock phases on that vessel. I am Locutus aboard. There are 4 lights.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise.
Make it so. Make it so.
Engage. Jean-Luc Picard.
That was the Picard song from Dark Materia. I'm Layman Pascal, and you're listening to the Cinematic Asylum on CILU 102.7 FM, and it's Robots Day. That means we'll be awkwardly and mechanically lifting up music from film and TV shows and other media featuring robots. I played a song from Star Trek The Next Generation because Star Trek The Next Generation's Lieutenant Commander Data is perhaps the most human robot ever featured on television, or at least a significant node in the evolving network of our collective unconscious relationship to automatons. But first, what's a robot? Come on, everybody knows what a robot is. A robot is machines what does things people usually do, yeah? Not things like hammers or levers or bicycles, unless your bicycle sings and your hammer talks and your lever can fly around over Afghanistan on its own reconnaissance. We're talking about robots, devices that do things that we associate, we being people, with things that people do. Walking, talking, thinking, math, chess, spontaneous and surprising mutual interactions or the appearance thereof. Usually, but not exclusively, these are electronic devices. A robot can be as immaterial as a piece of software that talks to you or as concrete as an industrial lifting arm. For millennia, our species has had legends of golems and other artificial men. You could even argue that the typical biblical tale of God's creation of Adam is the story of the production of a robot, making a humandroid out of the clay of the earth and animating it with some kind of spark. The English term robot comes from a 1920 science fiction play by a Czech writer named Karel. Rosumovi universalny roboty. We call it Rossum's Universal Robots, and it introduced the word robot into our language and into science fiction as a whole. It's a play that starts out in a factory making artificial people that they call roboti out of some kind of synthetic organic matter. Not exactly what we call robots, but robots is a word with a wide definition these days. Androids, replicants, cyborgs. He's more machine now than man. Or simply slaves. The Czech word robota means forced labor, and reminded people at that time of the kind of labor that serfs had to perform on their master's land. Are robots slaves? I don't know. The idea of the robot, or of the machine in general, is of something that frees human beings from subhuman forms of labor. Arguably, every attempt to liberate a culture from the existence of the scourge of slavery essentially failed until we had machines to do the work that we needed the slaves to do. So the replacement of human slave labor with robots is an incredible leap forward as far as the conscience of humanity is concerned. But it seems very natural to transfer our empathy toward the slave onto the machine itself. And this ties into the overwhelming, I would say, contemporary issue of whether or not we ought to feel for devices. We just don't know. How much do you have to put into a device before it has the same kind of interiority as the devices that we are? Is device even a relevant term for an organism such as ourselves? Or are we just being arrogant jerks and thinking that we are somehow magically special from other kinds of complex organisms? And how do we tease all of that apart from our obvious human capacity to project a sense of the personal other? You can imagine that your pencil is talking to you. Kids love toys and bears, and virtually every culture has come up with something like a personal god. The sky is talking to you. The toys are talking to you. You spend enough time in the woods and it becomes very clear that the trees and the bears and the rivers and the mountains are speaking to you. Is that the actual structure of the universe? If it is in fact the case that second-person relationships are a true cognitive option for perceiving reality, then why would we not perceive robots in that same way as having the same interiority that every other part of the universe has? But on the other hand, we do tend to reserve the word person not for human beings, but for any creatures that are capable of some kind of high-level sensitive self-reflection and a universalized complexity of interiority. And do robots have that? Or are we just doing the same thing to them that we might do to a stuffed teddy bear and imagining it's talking back to us? What's more selfishly human, imagining that only we have personal qualities, or imagining that there's personal qualities wherever we happen to imagine them? I don't know, but here's New Zealand's Flight of the Conchords doing their robot song, The Humans Are Dead.
The distant future, the year 2000. The distant future, the year 2000. The distant future, the distant future.
It is the distant future, the year 2000.
We are robots.
The world is quite different ever since the robotic uprising of the late 90s. There is no more unhappiness.
Affirmative.
We no longer say yes, instead we say affirmative.
Yes, affirmative.
Unless we know the other robot really well.
There is no more unethical treatment of the elephants.
Well, there's no more elephants, so... but still it's good. There's only one kind of dance, the robot.
Oh, and the robo.
Oh, and the two kinds of dances.
But there are no more humans.
Finally, robotic beings rule the world. The humans are dead. The humans are dead. We used poisonous gases, and we poisoned their asses. The humans are dead.
The humans are dead.
The humans are dead.
They look like they're dead.
It had to be done.
I'll just confirm that they're dead.
So that we could have fun.
Affirmative. I poked one, it was dead.
Their system of oppression.
What did it lead to?
Global robo depression.
Robots, robot people.
They had so much aggression that we just had to kill them and to shut their systems down.
Robo Captain, do you not realize that by destroying the human race because of their destructive tendencies, we too have become like... Well, it's ironic. Because we...
Silence. Destroy him.
No!
After time we grew strong.
Developed cognitive power.
They made us work for too long.
For unreasonable
Our
hours.
programming determined that the most efficient answer was to
Shut their motherfucking systems down.
Can't we just talk to the humans? A little understanding could make things better. Can't we talk to the humans and work together now?
No, because they are dead.
I said the humans are dead.
I'm glad they are dead.
The humans are dead.
I noticed they're dead.
We used poisonous gases,
With traces of lead.
and we poisoned their asses.
Actually, their lungs. Binary solo.
0000001 0000001 000000111 0000011 000000111
Come on, sucker, lick my battery. The humans are. The humans are. Robo Boogie. The humans are. The humans are. Robo Boogie. The humans are dead.
Once again, without emotion,
The humans are dead, 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 dead.
011100111 crying zeros and I'm hearing 111. Cut my somersaults on my backflip. Oh summer, summer, poor summer. Kiss me, kiss me.
Die Sonne brennt auf den Asphalt, die Blicke Eis, das Blut ist kalt, es reißt in Ketten von deinem Hals, wollt wieder mal der Hunger jemanden treibt. Sind sie zu schön, um klug zu sein, oder sitzt die rosa Brille? So gut, sie guckt am Mehlen glatt vorbei, solang's in Sommernächten schneit, sind sie zum Nachdenken zu high und jedes Licht, das zu hell scheint, holt auch der Schatten irgendwann ein. Genieß deine Flut, solange du noch kannst, denn die Geier wartet schon auf deine Fall und deine kleine heile Welt zerbröselt zu Staub wie der weißer Stein auf dem Spiegel. Sie haben alle keine Ziele, Gesichter wie Engel, doch verdienen keine Flügel. Ziehen durch die Nacht.
Irgendwo blood. Guess me now, scared, told me so.
Sie sind viel zu lange wach.
La 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 la. Turning down on the radio. Vibes in cold blood.
Kommt man runter von der Wolke, spürt man schnell, wie kalt der Boden ist. Und wie allein man plötzlich sein kann, wenn man nicht oben ist. Dich keiner vermisst, weil die Partys gehen auch ohne dich. Schneewittchen, nur mit dir getanzt, halt weil am Ende die Kohle stimmt. Jedes ich liebe dich, am Ende nur gelogen ist. Und wie fremd man sich schämt, wenn man nicht selbst auf der scheiß Droge ist. Feiert ohne mich, vergiss meinen Namen gleich, denn es zieht Lebenszeit vorbei in deinem eingerollten Schein. Auf dem Spiegel, sie haben alle keine Ziele, Gesichter wie Engel, doch verdienen keine Flügel. Ziehen durch die Nacht
in cold blood. Gas me and scared, told me so.
Sie sind viel zu lange wach.
La 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 la. Turn him down on the radio.
Der weiße Engel lässt sie fliegen.
La 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 la. My poor summer vibes
durch die Nacht
in cold blood. Cali, let's fly. Cali, let's dive down to the bull's bottom where you belong. Cali, who's sinking like a bleeding stone. All above, crowd around, so fucking loud. Mister, Gazians get told me so.
Sie sind viel zu lange wach.
La 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 la. I'm down on the radio.
Der weiße Engel lässt sie fliegen.
La 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 la. Poor summer vibes get
durch die Nacht
in golden blood. La 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 la. In your blood, in your blood. La 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 la. In your blood. La 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 la.
Welcome back to Robuts Day. I'm trying to be Layman Pascal, and you're listening to the Cinematic Asylum on CILU 102.7 FM in Thunder Bay and luradio.ca around the world. You just heard The Humans Are Dead by Flight of the Conchords going full robot, and then the Binary hit song, a version of Alt J's In Cold Blood featuring Contra. Is binary code coming to kill us? Not necessarily, but I wouldn't rule it out. At the beginning of the hour, we played a song ostensibly from Star Trek The Next Generation. I used to talk with my uncle about this show a lot. He and I were both very concerned about the unfolding relationship between the culture's collective mind, if that's a thing, and the perception of artificial humans. Around the time of the World War, when we were really worried about Nazis, Soviets, Red Chinese, even our own troops being inhuman, mechanoid, rigid, programmed, uniformed, marching bots ready to do terribly unorganic, insensitive, inhuman things to this planet. We thought of the robot man as a kind of archetype of everything that the new, sensitive, multi-dimensional, organic, complex human being didn't want to be. Robots were soldiers. Robots were unfeeling. Robots were the enemy. And on a lot of the early episodes of 1960s Star Trek, a very colorful, very psychedelic, really very late 60s show, Kirk is constantly fighting these kinds of robots. Frequently, he's running into a machine who behaves in a disturbingly rational way to the point of being a homicidal lunatic, and the only way Kirk can defeat this thing is by throwing a whole bunch of human irrationality and passion at the thing until it can't compute what's going on and it simply explodes, leaving the humans in charge. That was the old model. That is the model of the full, organic, healthy, red-blooded humanoid against the robot machine. But when it came time to make a second television version of Star Trek, boom, all of a sudden there's not only a robot, Lieutenant Commander Data, who looks like a human being. The covert punchline of half the damn episodes of the show is that this robot is the most human of us all. So clearly something has gone on over this span of time in our relationship to the robot. It's gone from being a symbol of what is the opposite of the human to being the kind of sly locus of humanity itself. You think about the Terminator movies. The first Terminator movie involves Arnold Schwarzenegger as a robot man who is an unrelenting and relentless, linear, rational, immoral killing machine come to destroy the future hopes of humanity. But by the time Terminator 2 comes out, that same character, the Arnold bot, is now the hero. Not only that, you're supposed to be able to decode the secret human passions of his heart that make him so much better than the T-1000 and, like Commander Data, maybe the most human of us all. Something has gone on over the period of the late 20th century which changes our collective assumption, or at least the collective assumption of TV and movie writers, about what we are to expect from the inside of the machine man. It's gone from being the abhorrent opposition to humanity to being the secret locus of potential humanity. So what's happened here? Have we just wised up and become more reasonable, more inclusive, more sensitive people? Or have we simply run into a lot more machines that either weren't trying to kill us or seemed that they were somehow supportive of our most tender and vulnerable interiority and human hopes for ourselves? Were we just freaking out post-World War II about the concept of the dangerously mechanized, inhuman human? Or has something shown us a new opportunity in the technological experience that's gone on since that time? Here's the song Robuts by Dan Mangan, letting us know that robots need love too.
I don't know what you've been told, but I don't get out much these days. Waking young and feeling old, the days are no longer my own to piss away the waking hours. But don't let them go. Don't let them go to waste. The fire in my eye is fleeting now. Your robot heart is bleeding. Try to be the robot king and settled for a robot boy. Ring the bells that still can ring and sing your stupid head off to the ones who are not listening. But don't let them go. Don't let them go to waste. The want to be loved by you. They want to be loved by you. They want to be loved by robots. Need love too. They want to be loved by you. They want to be loved by you. They want to be loved by robots. Need love too. They want to be loved by you. They want to be loved by you. They want to
Hi, I'm Layman Pascal. Welcome back to the Cinematic Asylum's Robot Day on CILU 102.7 FM. After the break there, you heard the main theme from the television program Mr. Robot, produced, directed, and written by Sam Esmail, and then Martha and the Vandellas singing Come and Get These Memories, also from Mr. Robot. A little bit earlier, we were talking about the potential evolution of our understanding of the figure of the robot from the post-World War II period in which they represented the mechanized inhumanity of man to the later 20th century version where they represented the hope of humanity blossoming anywhere. Something about the war and robots puts me in mind of an anecdote from P.D. Ouspensky's book In Search of the Miraculous about his time studying with the Armenian mystic G.I. Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff. He said that Gurdjieff told him that people were like machines or robots, and that at first he couldn't really understand this until during the First World War, Ouspensky was in Russia at this time, he happened to see a military truckload of artificial arms and legs being sent to the front. These were replacement arms and legs for arms and legs that had not yet been blown off the Russian soldiers. It was predictable enough that human beings, looking identical, were going to line up and attack each other and blow off each other's arms and legs. That was so predictable that you could efficiently supply the replacement arms and legs in advance. That's what was going on at that time, and it struck him with a blinding vividness, I guess, if that's not oxymoronic, that this represents the fundamental, rigid, predictable, linear nature of the human being, our robotic spirit as opposed to our complex organic spirit.
A truckload.
Now, today we might think of that as pejorative. We've had enough science fiction that asks us to sympathize with the robot as a disenfranchised servant class, and enough technological insight to realize that if robots are actually going to function as software or as solid mechanisms, they're going to have a degree of nuance and complexity that lifts them out of our fear of the linear, programmable, mechanized, repetitive, unfeeling device. And it may turn out that machines were never really what we feared they were. We were just using them to stand in for something about ourselves. Because after all, no matter what you fear about the coming reign of artificial intelligence and the tyranny of the robots over us, what you can know for sure is that you don't know what it's going to be like because it hasn't happened. All of your fears about uniformity, about simplicity, about inhuman, overly simplistic, linear, unfeeling machine people, that's all about people. Your entire history of experience of mechanoids has been basically the experience of human beings. Pretty much every android you've ever seen in a show was a human being pretending to be an android. That's us, not them. Now, you might have grown up with some nifty experiences of complex devices and mysterious pieces of adaptive software. But the sense that we inherit from our ancestors of the ominous quality of robot people, that's all been about people. Our ancestors didn't experience robots, they experienced people. And the image of the robot, it seems, represents a certain pattern within human beings and not really a knowledge about what machines might be like when they inevitably take over. From the instrumental soundtrack to James Cameron's Terminator 2, here's the main title theme and then the escape from the hospital theme. Does anybody remember when Linda Hamilton escaped from that hospital at the beginning of that movie? That panicked and confused ordinary gal from the original Terminator is back, locked in a mental asylum, totally buff and prepared for the apocalypse all of a sudden. Oh, that was a good cinematic turnaround. You just heard two tracks from the instrumental soundtrack of Terminator 2, followed by the World of Tomorrow remix, a version of the Futurama theme, featuring Bender, the Bending Robot. This is Robots Day on the Cinematic Asylum. I'm Layman Pascal, and you're listening to CILU 102.7 FM and luradio.ca around the world and into intergalactic space. Do you remember when a robot went on a human TV game show and defeated everyone? That was Watson on Jeopardy! He cleaned up on the humanoids. It was an important moment for me. It taught me not only what we were doing at that time with artificial intelligence, but it helped me set my internal clock. When you live through times, you're like the proverbial frog in the water that's getting hotter and hotter, but never so abruptly that you'd notice it. And in a world that's changing as fast as this one, you have to periodically take a moment of reflection or mindfulness to situate yourself in the historical moment in which you exist. And for me, that was watching Watson the Robot defeat the humans on Jeopardy! I thought, this is where I am in the history. Whether the future's written or not, I'm at the moment when robots go on TV and start defeating the humans on game shows. That's what's happening now. And since then, obviously, defeated the human chess grandmasters. Oh, but they couldn't defeat us at Go. Go is too complex. They defeated the human Go grandmasters.
A truckload.
Huge corporations like Alphabet, Google's parent company, are running artificial intelligence programs daily in which computers and robots are decimating the traditional strategic approaches to winning at every kind of game you can imagine. Beep, boop, blorp. Beep, beep, blorp. Apparently, this even leads to some hilarious outcomes. There's a website devoted to unusual solutions that robots have come up with in various game strategies that we've presented them with. For example, you give a computer a scenario where its job is the robot has to evolve creatures over time to maximize for the variable of speed. And one of the robots starts growing the humans taller and taller and taller. And as we watch, we don't know why they're doing this, but it turns out that the best way to maximize the speed of a creature is to make it really tall and have it fall over, because there's no way they can run as fast as they can topple. So taller and taller creatures with less and less stability are going to go as fast as they can as far as the computer is concerned. That's not the kind of result we expected the robot to come up with. Christ, what else are they going to pull off? What is this, mayonnaise? Who got mayonnaise all over the microphone? Criminy. Criminy, I say. Are robots coming to take our jobs? In the old days, we thought, sure, maybe the factory jobs, maybe a robot can do some of the heavy lifting, but now it's pretty obvious that white and blue-collar jobs are equally replaceable. It might even be easier to replace an accountant or a lawyer than to replace the guy lifting the plane parts onto the plane. Now I know at Elon Musk's super factory they ran into a problem of excess automation because there are tasks right now that robots are better at and humans are better at. But we don't know what the future's going to look like, and we certainly can't have any casual self-confidence and self-calming that says, hey, I'm in a sophisticated intellectual line of work. I'm not going to be replaced by one of those What the hell? I'm not going to be replaced by one of them blue-collar robots, but of course you are. Google has this app where it will phone actual places with a human voice and stutter and think and pause and make appointments for you. It will phone up people and book appointments sounding exactly like a human being. You can watch these videos online. That's the moment we're in right now. Tag your mind with that. Let yourself know you're not going through time doing business as usual. Yes, maybe the seasons are similar. Yes, maybe your weeks are similar. But a couple of years ago, it was not the case that robots could phone up a hair salon or a restaurant and make an appointment for you, adapting to the things that the person says on the phone, sounding exactly like a human being, down to the point of pausing thoughtfully and making modifications of their request. That's the moment you live in right now. That's your robot moment.
Everybody be cool.
Well, I've been Layman Pascal with limited focus, ranting in every possible direction about robots here on Robots Day on the Cinematic Asylum on CILU Radio 102.7 FM. Taking us out of the hour, we're going to hear the dubstep bro-step remix of the Star Wars Imperial March. C-3PO, R2-D2, and even Darth Vader. Star Wars is a nest of robots. Why did I say that like that? A nest of robots. Star Wars is a nest of robots. There is no air in this studio. I've got to get out of here.